Yeah. Ha ha ha. Thank you, God, for this life. It don't make me better, but damn, it feels good to be up, knowing that most of you are sleeping. And I mean that positively. Not because I'm comparing or contrasting, but just because I'm speaking. Warning, you're entering a live system loop purge. This transmission may expose how long you've been cosplaying wholeness. You might experience sudden guilt from how many projects you've spiritualized instead of finished. Emotional recoil when you realize you never quit, you just quietly disappeared. Flashbacks to the exact moment you traded your name for a maybe later. If these symptoms rise, do not deflect, do not log off. Don't call it processing. Close the loop, bury the ghost, reclaim the name. Welcome to Raw for Epoch 2 Day 99. Yeah. Closure is identity control. Open loops dilute identity. Anything you started, close it today. You didn't just join a stream, you stepped into Judgment Day for the version of you that never finishes. Ooh. Let's work, baby. Let's work. Let's get straight into our concept overview for day 99. We are performing surgery on your life. Closure is identity control. This episode is about the quiet war happening inside of your life between what you started and what you actually finished. So here's what we intend to uncover today. We'll discuss how open loops quietly drain your confidence, clarity, and consistency. Why quitting often feels like closure, but it's actually just relief in disguise. The spiritual difference between pausing and abandoning. How unfinished work becomes a pattern that rewires your identity. And how true closure isn't just about tasks, it's about who you become when you finish. Let me be clear. This ain't about doing more. It's about clearing the static between you and the version of you that keeps their word. I'm a man of my word. To themselves, to others, and of course to God, to root, to source, to creator, to the architect of your life. Let's go into a visual metaphor. We call this the storage unit of unfinished you. Immerse yourself. Join me. Close your eyes. Visualize. Picture this. You're handed a key to a storage unit. You open the door, and it's packed with boxes, hundreds of them. Each box is labeled almost halfway. Next week, my personal favorite. Still figuring it out. And as you look around, you see a guitar you've never learned, a journal with one page written, a business name you bought a domain for but never fully built, work clothes still folded from 2020, maybe 1995, an apology you drafted but never sent, a version of you sitting on the floor waiting for you to come back. Does that hurt? Because that's not even the worst part. The worst part is you keep paying rent every month in energy, in guilt, in identity, confusion. You pay to keep the storage full because part of you believes you might go back. but you won't. Not like that anyway. Not unless you close the door on the ghosts. Because the more storage you keep, the less space you have for the version of you who actually finishes what they start. So today, it ain't about organizing the unit. It is about evicting what you no longer carry, not because it's bad, but because it is not you anymore. Here's my personal perspective on day 99. It just so happens, coincidentally, intentionally, I've been thinking a lot about closure lately. And again, I don't mean just, finishing tasks. I mean the kind of closure that defines your identity. As children, as kids, we all have visions of grandeur. All of us. Big dreams, absolute wild imagination. And over time, because it's life, those dreams sort of age out. But it's not because we outgrew them. But the reality is that it's because we quietly quit them. That's what nobody says out loud about adulthood. You don't stop dreaming. You start quitting so often you forget what dreaming even felt like. And here's the scary part. Like, I got goosebumps right now. Quitting feels like closure, but it ain't. It is not. It's relief in disguise. It's the high of I am done without the reward of I finished. The seduction of quitting is that it feels like peace. When the reality is, it's just pause without purpose. Just like you, I've started more things than I'll ever even be able to admit and even remember, and left most of them in limbo. Books, ideas, projects, even people. And every time I left one hanging, my system got used to it. Like everything else, you get high on quitting when you've never tasted real completion. You confuse the end of effort with the evidence of execution. You want to know the tragedy in this? You build an entire personality on top of half-built dreams. That is your high. And that is when I knew something had to change. I still go through it. I remember the last time I wanted to quit, I got that same familiar sensation, the false resolution. That moment when quitting feels like clarity, but you still feel spiritually congested after. That's not closure. It's not closure. It's chemical comfort. And if I'm being all the way really real raw and uncooked, I've lived entire chapters of my life on the fumes of unresolved dreams and called it maturity. This is that adulting thing. But the really real is I was quitting on the low and dressing it up in self-care. But we can't do that anymore. Certainly not today. Not with what I've seen. Not with the amount of times I've realized I've quit. Not with who I'm becoming. Closure is not just something you give to a project. It's something you owe your soul. And this chapter, if I don't close it with truth, then I just quit and called it growth. There's consequences for this. We're going to check the chat because this is so important to our success. 4:09 a.m. on, I believe, a Wednesday, day 99. If we want to talk about getting high on our own supply and the identity loops we create and the friction with which we are unable to sustain growth, you can get high off starting, stopping, quitting. And that becomes your closure. Your closure is to return to the loop of the high of starting something again. Understand what I'm saying here. If you reflect and you audit, we'll get into that later because that's what we always do. But we need a brief pause to reflect here. Day 99. We start to measure. Are we successful? Are we actually growing? Am I being who I want to be? Going where I want to go? Seeing what I want to see? Those measurables that are quantifiable and qualifiable. When you don't persist and actually reach conflict resolution, full closure towards a direction, you have nothing to measure by other than the high of starting. Maybe you reach the middle, which is when it gets immeasurably hard and difficult, because everything you start, you can easily sprint towards the middle. Whenever you start a journey, a weight loss journey, an individual journey, a relational journey, a spiritual journey, a financial journey, the start is super easy because you're at ground zero. And if you just want to make the math 100, 0 to 100, you might get to 50, and you definitely get from 0 to 25 in a sprint. But every other growth path from 25 to 50, 50 to 75, 75 to 100, it takes longer and longer and longer to scale, because the gaps, you can close the gap from novice to intermediate really quickly. You can go from not meeting expectation at a level to meeting a standard expectation quick. But then going from the standard to becoming, let's say, an expert, or separating yourself from the pack and from the crowd, the sprint doesn't work anymore. So we start, it feels awfully good. We get high off of it. We've been talking about this for at least 99 days in different ways. We start to post it. We start to speak it. We start to tell it. We get on the phone. We create these little groups. This is the storage unit of constant action towards initiating. We're constantly taking off like a rocket. Boom, we explode. We never make it into space. Why? What happens when you're in space? You're just floating. That's the middle. I'm only 99 days into going live at this time. I've come really far from day one. I couldn't even see day 99 on day one. I don't even know how many more days I have left of this. I haven't set an intention around when I will start this. So we could argue I'm somewhere in the middle. And we go through the standard. This is standard life stuff. There are days when we are sick. Look at my recordings from last week when I was sick. My energy was almost on forget zero. It was negative. If I didn't have a script in front of me, I don't even know if I could have gotten through the episode. Thank God I was able to forecast and make changes. I didn't use the script. I used to have my red book. Tomorrow's going to be day 100, 100. A lot of us can't even go 100 hours for the entirety of the year, which is about 15 to 20 minutes a day, let alone 100 straight days of hours. I'm not bragging or looking to preach. I'm just trying to show you an example. It's addicting to start something because of what it feels like to imagine. I discussed it in the concept overview. It is so much more acceptable as a child to just the visions. Maybe we wanted to go into space. No one laughs at a child who says, I want to go into space. We applaud them. Go get it. And then slowly it ages out. Why? We ask people to start being more real. Come to reality. Don't let gravity pull you away. It's almost as if our delusion as children is acceptable because we don't know any better. There's no wisdom there. We haven't learned that life's going to hit us. So we dream with no boundaries. We dream with no friction. We dream in full openness. And as we get older, somehow the maturity and the maturation of becoming an adult lessens our ability to broaden our scope. When interestingly enough, the ability to gain wisdom and knowledge and power and authority over your life should make you dream even bigger. Why? You have more rationale. You're less delusional. You should be more aligned with who you are at this juncture of your life, especially if you're in your 40s like me. Point being, you can actually begin to leverage your imagination to broaden your scope in ways that should be more reasonable to who you are as a being, as a creator, as an identity, because you've learned things. But along the way, our acceptable delusion as children becomes madness and someone who is out of their mind and is in an alternate reality if we continue to dream the way that we used to dream. So we dream quietly and in smaller gravitational pulls, if you would, since I'm still trying to get into space. I'm in space anyway. If you haven't realized where I'm at, I'm always in the heavens. I've created my own heaven. You can't tell me otherwise. You can't bring me down. I'm always high. Delusional, right? I'd rather my version of delusion than the delusion that society pushes to me. But my point is, we make these evolutions, we grow, we expand, we hit these obvious loops of, oh man, something got to change. Why did I start this 99 days ago? A lot of us had New Year's resolutions that are long gone. Those are back in the storage unit with another box labeled that you're probably going to revisit for 2026 and every year after that. That is an obvious high. That's not delusional. Everybody accepts that on the last day of the year, we're going to get high off something, drink ourselves to death, destroy our livers. That's acceptable. Imagine that too. I love seeing this. You go to a party, you drink poison, and you kill yourself until you vomit. That's not delusional. That's acceptable by society standards. You go to the same party on the last day of the year, you say, I'm not drinking. Aside from the, oh, that's your New Year resolution. Why aren't you voluntarily poisoning yourself? That's not delusional. That's acceptable. The way it is to say, I'm going to go do this. This is the year. This is the day. And where are you at? 99 days in. I got 99 problems. But life ain't one. Are you not high on life anymore? Are you waiting for the next high of, oh, wait, are you trying to fit that summer body in? Is that where we're at now? Uh-oh. I'm going to be in my tank tops and birthday suits for the summer. I got to get summer ready. You're not. That's another box in the storage unit. How many more boxes of unfinished that you tape up and you seal all the way closed, never to be opened again? And that's another thing too. You can't even create a middle enough from a starting point of a let's even call it a weight loss journey. How many times were you going to go work out? You close that, you seal that, you start it again. There's no muscle memory there. You start a new box. You got boxes stacked of, I'm going to work out. Closed, sealed, never made any progress. Then you get high, you get that one workout, and then you stop. Where the chat at? Stop stacking your storage unit. Excuse me. If you're going to be delusional towards never stopping. Find a goal for yourself that is never ending. Watch what that does for you. Tell me if you're not high in your life. There's consequences to inaction. If you keep living in open loops, you'll keep quitting and calling it alignment. You'll start seeing breaks as bravery. You'll build confidence off posts instead of proof. You'll leave fragments of yourself in every unfinished task. You'll confuse evolving with escaping, and you'll hand your kids, clients, or legacy a blueprint for how to ghost your own greatness. And one day you'll walk into the storage unit of your own life and realize every box was packed by fear and sealed with silence. The consequences are real, but you know I got you. I wouldn't be here if I didn't have you in mind on how to take ownership. There's a 3-step enforcement I believe in that we can do to take ownership of this here. The first thing is to audit the ghosts. How do we do that? Open your phone, your journal, your calendar, your brain. Look for every I'll get to it and every still figuring it out. That's your loop graveyard. The second thing you want to do is close it or kill it. If it still matters, close the loop today. If it is dead weight, kill it. But don't let it float in spiritual limbo. Ghosts only haunt where you won't commit. The third thing you want to do is reintroduce yourself. Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is reintroduce yourself as a closer. Say this out loud until your system believes it. I am a closer. I finish what I start. If I don't finish, I confront it. Nothing I create stays open without reason. Convince yourself. If it gets opened, if you're going to create the friction, if you're going to create the conflict, it needs resolution. Do not leave open tabs on your life. Do not get high off the start. Get high off the finish. Start small. Win today. Win today. That's all you can win is right now. There's a reason for that. The more you win right now, the more your system reintroduces itself to the open and the closing of tasks directionally forward, not back to where you started. Let's get into our daily challenge. ARR, audit, replace, report. This is the closure edition. We start with our audit. Go take a walk through your spiritual storage unit. Find 3 things you started but never finished, not just work stuff. We're talking emotional closures, spiritual leftovers, personal debris. What does that look like? That prayer you stopped mid-sentence, that message you saved in your drafts, that fitness plan you posted but never pushed through. That one-day project you never looked at again. Write them down. Write them down. They are not tasks. They are open tabs on your identity. And you know what happens with open tabs on your identity? They drain you. Audit. Then we replace. Now you got 3, right? Pick one. Not all 3. Not the whole list. One loop. And today, you either close it with action or kill it with intention or declare it dead with no guilt and no ghost. But what you do not do, you don't carry it into tomorrow. No more rent for the unfinished version of you. No more rent for the unfinished version of you. No más. Those ghosts don't live here anymore. I'll share this with you. I learned this recently, and it's been a massively powerful, liberating experience. I call it prayer because to me, every thought and every conversation I have, I know that God is watching, not listening, not stalking, not judging, not condemning, just watching, experiencing with me. Why? We're all in the image. My belief, allow me to be delusional. You can't take me from my heaven. I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not that sorry. But here's what I do. as I transition, we talk about one priority at a time. So I've learned this because I start my day with prayer, I end my day with prayer, and I do it directly. I target God. God, hear me. I'm here. My system is checking in with you. For the end of the day, I say my system is checking out. I release to you. But that's the point. When we talk about no more rent for the unfinished version of me, I request and I command to release the blockage, release the barriers, release any friction, release this character version of me, and allow me to transition warmly into my next role, into my next version, into my next priority. Do you understand? Release the blockage, release the friction, release the barriers. I don't carry it. No guilt, no ghost. If I didn't have the greatest time on the mic, release it. If I had the greatest time and goosebump version, release it. It's no longer me. It's gone into the infinite. I now move forward to my next role. So how this plays out, I wake up, I sit down on my meditative corner. I go through my visual experience, and even as I start my day, release any friction that I have in my thoughts, in my mind, in my emotional feeling, how I am experiencing life. I release it. I get into my cliche Jeff mode. I give myself 5 minutes before I go. The next thing I do is I go into fatherhood. I got to go cook the bacon, literally, make eggs, pack bags, release this version of me, release any block that might prevent me from being the best possible version of a father. Do you hear what I'm saying to you? And then I focus and lock in everything I've done from 3 o'clock, and I usually go upstairs at about 6:30. For these 3.5 hours, boom, gone. Then I need to lock in for the next 90 minutes. From 6:30 to 8, I need to be a father. I got to walk the dog. I got to cook food. I got to pack bags. I got to be present for my children. Don't allow anything to block me from being the best possible version that they need for me. Then when I'm done dropping them off at school, I give myself 5 minutes. I release again. Release everything from me and allow me to go be my 9-to-5 professional. Release, no guilt, no dead weight. Let it go. I'm present. And then I do that when I clock out. Do you see this? Do you understand what I'm telling you? And in that way, whether or not I got what I wanted from the day, I closed it. And then I can audit and reflect, well, this didn't go quite according to plan. Tomorrow, if I get another tomorrow, if God blesses me with another day, I can make adjustments. But I can't make any adjustments if nothing is released. Release the friction, the tension, the barriers, the obstacles, the blockage, the unnecessary stress that comes with overthinking things. Let it go. We're into our report, audit, replace, report. And if this makes it to you and you tried anything I told you, let me know. Come back in the comments and let me know if that worked for you. It's liberating. Report, April system reset. We're on day 9 of our challenge. I closed what? Fill in the blank. No pump fake, no working on it, no epilogue, just proof, just wait. Just the sound of a door closing behind you so the new you can walk forward without drag. Closure. It really, in my opinion, in my estimation, it isn't optional. It's spiritual self-respect. The unfinished version of you, it isn't who you are. It's just the one you keep feeding with false endings. Today, forget yesterday and all the other yesterdays. They're gone. We finished the loop. We shut the door. We return to the thing we said we would do. And we do it like our name is on it. Why? Because it is. No more drafts. No more I'm thinking about it. No more quitting dressed in wisdom. Closure. Closure is wonderful, and closure is control. Closure is clarity. Clarity, is power. And power belongs to the one who finishes. Own the system or be erased by it. You either run the system or the system runs you. Close the loop. Change your mind, change your life. I am who I say I am. Do you and stay rich. Ooh.